Okay, today we're going to start on a lemon study. I have drawn a faint outline, I don't know if you can see that, for me to go by. And since I've never actually painted lemons before, I've done another study. In this study, I don't like how I have my shadows divided. It makes it look very flat. So I will try to take that out of this one. And generally, I will keep doing studies until I feel like I got a understanding of how that thing works. I don't have any physical references for a lemon, so I am just using old pictures that I took when I was in Spain and Greece, and we'll be going off those to create my picture. Today I will be using 5 colors. I have lemon yellow, permanent yellow deep, so light yellow, dark light yellow, permanent yellow orange, which is like a light orange color, permanent green number 1, which is a light green color, and sap green, which is a little bit darker. So first thing I will do is I'm going to wet my lemon where I want to add my lightest shade, which I'm going to do it for the whole lemon, and then build up my layers from there. I think at the orange we left a little space for where the light was hitting it, and it was very bright. But this one, I drew it as if it wasn't in direct sunlight, so I'm not gonna have that same reflection from the sun that I did in that one. So I'm just gonna start off with the lemon yellow and pick up a little bit of pigment on my brush, and I'm just gonna do a wash. Looks like I might have picked up a little bit too much pigment. I'm just gonna go with it. I love how bright and vibrant that is, and I think I shall keep that vibrancy for this base layer. I'll just give this a second to dry a bit. While it's drying, I'm just gonna pop in with my permanent yellow deep and drop in some of these darker shadows. And that way I get a nice blooming effect. It's still wet. You can already see as it's drying, the vibrancy of that yellow is slowly fading away. So once it's fully dry, I'm going to come back in and just give it a little bit more. I can even do it now. It's starting to lose its sheen. So as soon as that reflective quality comes off of the yellow part, I'm going to come back in there with another wash of that yellow. And if you just kind of tilt your light or tilt your head a bit, you'll be able to see that sheen. And it is pretty much gone. Although I'm not leaving that white spot in the middle, I am leaving that lighter yellow spot in the middle. I'm just picking up some of my darker orange here. And I'm just going to blend this in a little bit better so it's not so harsh. And we'll see how that goes. I'm just getting a bit of pooling here, so I'm just going to pick that up. Next, I'm going to come in with very little permanent yellow orange. And I'm going to add some of the permanent yellow deep just to lighten that up a touch. And I'm going to come in to my darker shadows. And just lay those in. They're not quite as dark as I want them to be. So I'll just add a little bit more permanent yellow orange. And just get those shadows where the leaves are laying. And this, I don't got enough water. Oh, now I got too much water. Oh, that's fine. And I'm just dropping in those shadows. You got a nice little bridge line here. That kind of creates a shadow. I wanted to go for shadows that were slightly more warm. I might have to drop in a little tiny bit of green in there, I think. Just to compensate for the reflection off the leaves. Those shadows are looking a little bit too warm. I'm just going to mix a little bit of lemon yellow and some green. Give me a very light green. And I'm just going to drop that in there. Probably should wait until it's a little bit more dry, but something to note later. And this leaf will only reflect on the top part because the back part then goes behind the lemon. And then I have a little bit of green still down in this point here. Now, I'm not loving this part here. I can bring it up a little bit. Get a little bit wet there. And just come in and smooth this out a bit. And then I will have to come back in with some yellow. Wet it a little bit. Just to try to get my colors balanced a bit better. A little bit too wet. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry and I shall go. Actually, I almost forgot this little part here, which is like a very bright yellow. And right there, laying a little bit more yellow. And right there. And we shall let that dry. So I will pause you and go drink my coffee while this dries. Okay, so that's dry enough now. I'm just gonna come in here, wet my stems and my leaves. You know, the lemon still is wet. Hopefully not enough that's gonna bleed. up some. And I'm just gonna get the whole leaf here. I'm not forgetting the stems. My first wash is just gonna be some of the permanent green number 1 and a little bit of lemon yellow. Give me a very light, pale green. And I'm just gonna fill in that leaf.
Pain makes a lot of noise. When pain says you can, Advil says you can.
And filling the stems. What am I watching? The same thing, I'm just going to fill in this leaf. A very light green wash. And fill in that stem. One thing I noticed with these oranges and lemons is that these lemon leaves come off the stem in a downward motion, for better lack of words. Downward motion. And the orange, they come off of the stem in an upward motion, which away from the fruit. And the lemons come towards the fruit. So that's always interesting. I don't know why, but my brain likes to compare stuff like that to each other. So I am going to come in as I knock everything on my desk with some pure permanent green number 1, and I'm just going to start filling in some of these parts. My reference, I had a medium tone right there, and then medium tone right in there. I'm going to pick up some of my sap green and drop in my darker shadows. I had a darker shadow here. Kind of came up like that. I had one here. And a little dark shadow there. And come in with a little bit finer brush. And mix a little bit of sap green. And a little bit of that green permanent number 1. I got some yellow on my brush. And I'm just going to drop in that vein here. I'm not gonna give me too much pigment because they're still wet, but it will give me the effect of a vein. I'm not really liking how it turned out in the middle there, so I'm going to take some of my lighter green color and just brush that through. And then come back in with that bit of darker green and drop that line back in there. I don't want it to be a super harsh line. I just want a hint of a line. And this side ain't working with me. There we go. And we'll let that dry. A little bit on those leaves. I'm going to come in on these stems and just add some darker shadows. I'm going to have some there. I have some here. And some right here. And right there. We're going to take a little bit of that permanent yellow orangey color. Okay. And I'm just gonna line the top of this orange. Like that. My paint is too watery, so I'm just going to add a bit more pigment to it and get the color that I like. There we go. And I'm not sure if I like that. Oh, let's mute it down a bit. There's some lemon yellow. That's all I'm doing with these studies. Is I'm just playing and seeing what I like for my final production piece. Oh, now it's too yellow. Yeah, I'm just playing around to see what will come out of doing different things and where I'm gonna end up liking. I do want a bit of contrast, but I don't want it to be that blatant. And we'll call that good. So, normally I would come in and really detail those leaves to, you know, give it that detailed finish look. But I'm trying to really keep my watercolors a bit more loose. So I will let that sit and dry, and then in a few days I will come back and take a look at it and see how I feel about it. And then go to my finished piece. So until next time, talk to you later. Bye.